Hi, it's Glenn again. One of the reasons that we keep such a wild garden is because one is I'm lazy and I'm not a great gardener, but I like getting out here and making and growing some food, and we get benefits out of that. Of course, one is just being out here is really helpful. Sideways doesn't work. So this is a plant. Let me back up so you can see. This is an amazing plant. This is tall, and it looks a little weird right now. If you know this plant, you may not recognize it right now if you don't know it well. But this is lamb's quarters. But it's in its seed version. It's making seeds right now instead of leaves. Most of the time, we use this plant for its leaves, not its seeds. But you can see it has a million. I mean, just in my hand right here, I probably have 100 seeds right there. And all of that is lamb's quarters. This is just, I don't know how many thousand seeds this might be. I doubt it's a million, but it's probably getting up there. But this plant is wonderful, and I want this going to seed. And I'll have lamb's quarters everywhere. I already have lamb's quarters everywhere. That's okay. I don't mind. If I have too much of it, it's really easy to pull up. But I love this plant. Its leaves, which you can see there are barely any leaves right now. So this is not really helping us out as far as food goes right now because there's very few leaves on it. So it's done as far as its food value for the year, at least for us. I don't know if some birds might eat the seeds or something. So far I haven't seen them messing around with it. But my gosh, lamb's quarters is amazing. I've written an article on lamb's quarters before. I call it super spinach. So if you look on my website, throughwoods.com, you'll see an article on there about super spinach. And this is super spinach. It is closely related to spinach. It's in the same family. I believe it's the Polygonaceae family, the buckwheat family. And don't quote me on that, but I believe that's right. And this type of growth pattern of the seeds very much looks like the buckwheat family. That's the way they tend to do. Another common one is yellow dock that we see. And of course buckwheat. I have lots of buckwheat growing, not in this part of the garden, but another part. And anyway, this plant makes a delicious, delicious green. And you know how much work it takes? Absolutely zero. I mean zero. Not, and I spent only an hour a week. No, I've spent 0 minutes cultivating a lamb's quarters. It is an amazing plant. Chenopodium is its Latin name, and man, it's a beautiful, beautiful plant. It's not that beautiful right now, I should say. It's all in its gangly seed version right now, but my God, I love this plant. It is my go-to green for the spring. I'd actually, this year, didn't bother planting any other greens besides lamb's quarters, and that's the only green we ate from our garden, at least, was lamb's quarters. Oh, sorry, that's not true. I planted some lettuce too. It doesn't make a good raw green. So if you want lettuce type things, a raw green, then this does not make a good raw green. But for cooked greens, why bother planting anything else? I can struggle trying to plant spinach in our hotter climate. And spinach is only really handy for early in the year around here or in the fall. But I haven't been that successful growing spinach. But its cousin here, its wild cousin, will go nuts. And so I just let this whole extra area of the garden be our lamb's quarters patch. And I pulled it out of the rest of the yard. And this will probably be a lamb's quarters patch again, because as far as I know, it doesn't have any diseases, at least none that seem to matter. The bugs don't bother it. They'll eat some of the leaves, but not enough to matter. Usually what happens, they'll eat the bottom leaves, and we just eat the middle and top leaves. So that's fine. And what I do usually is just pick a whole branch like this, and then strip the leaves off, And you don't really even have to cut them up much because the leaves are kind of small. The leaves are probably at their largest, maybe, I don't know, maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches across the leaf. And they break down a lot. Just like spinach, they cook down way smaller when you just steam them for like a minute. They'll be tiny. And so you cook them exactly like spinach. Everything you know about spinach, about cooking spinach, well, that's how you cook lamb's quarters. They do have a little white powder that forms on its leaves. Yeah, you can't really tell. I don't think you can tell on the camera. But on the underside, you can kind of tell. That powder kind of gets in the roof of your mouth. And it's not a great texture. So, anyway, lamb's quarters is amazing.